So, we're going to be switching over to Shin Megami Tensei 3 now. But before we do begin SMT3, let's talk a little bit about it. Because Nocturne is a very interesting title. And now that, well, we're streaming it, I can finally give it its own little segment of information. So, give me a second here. So, if you're not familiar with the Shin Megami Tensei series, it is a spin-off of a set of books called Megami Tensei. And, well, the Megami Tensei series, at least the original one, it's really good. It's a set of novels, only released in Japan, unfortunately. And they basically follow this kid named Nakajima, and he's like really smart. He's a smart pretty boy, right? And he kind of gets bullied in school, despite being like cute and stuff. Like, he's really smart, he's really attractive. And basically, he denies this girl, right? She wants to go out with him. He's like, nah, I'm busy, because he's like studying a bunch of shit. And she gets mad and jealous. She starts dating this like bully, who then beats the shit out of Nakajima for, rejecting her. So what this guy has been doing, he's been studying the occult, basically. So he's been writing a demon summoning program. He's been trying to convert demons into data. And he's been speaking to Loki, who, well, is the trickster god of Norse mythology. In this universe, he is a quote-unquote demon. And he tries to summon Loki by offering sacrifices. In return, he gets power, and he gets his revenge on the chick who told the bully to like beat him up, and he gets revenge on the dude who beat him up. They basically get murdered in school. They get eaten alive by the other classmates as they get turned into zombies, stuff like that. Nakajima is not super he's not a very likable protagonist, let's say, at least at first. But what's most important to take away from this is the whole, demon summoning program portion of this, because that's kind of what Shin Megami Tensei started doing. So a lot of people like to translate Shin Megami Tensei as true goddess reincarnation, but it's more like true goddess, what was the word? Metapsychosis? No, hold on. Let me remember the fucking word. Metempsychosis. There we go. So that's like the more accurate translation. It's not true goddess reincarnation, it's true goddess metempsychosis. And if you don't know what that means, it's basically being it's like Buddhist stuff. It's basically being a part of the cycle of life and death, which also involves reincarnation, but it's not just reincarnation. But either way, Shin Megami Tensei 1 focuses a bit on that. They focus a bit on the metempsychosis and the cycles of life and death. There's a lot of stuff that I'm not going to cover until we cover that game for the first time. But the main plot of the story is nukes are dropped on Japan. The protagonist is basically phased out of time for like, I don't know, I think it's either 30, 60, or 300 years, I forget. And by the time they come back to Japan, it's been overrun by demons. The apocalypse happened. It's an apocalyptic wasteland. There's, shattered buildings everywhere, stuff like that, right? And you try to fix this shit. The sequel, Shin Megami Tensei 2, takes place 60 years after the events of Shin Megami Tensei 1, where the hero has died already. He was a hero. He rebuilt cities. He built empires, things like that. And Shin Megami Tensei 2 followed a more law approach to things. So, one of the main draws to the Shin Megami Tensei series are the concepts of law and chaos, as well as neutrality. Law being a complete totalitarianist regime, where you worship the literal Abrahamic God, YHVH. You worship him, you step out of line at any second, you are killed on the spot. If you are not a quote-unquote nice person, you are killed on the spot. things like that. It's very, very, very tough, and you know, it's an iron fist, literally. And then you have the chaos side, which is more of a survival of the fittest thing. Only the strong should be allowed to exist. Only the strong should survive. And that's kind of what they try to implement with those ideologies. And then the neutral path is you reject both of them. And instead of either worshipping the Abrahamic God or letting chaos reign, you try to reconstruct humanity and bring it back to what it should be, which is a more neutral path, where while it does have aspects of law and chaos, it should try to work together to ensure a bright future for humanity and put humanity first and foremost before anything. So that's kind of what the hero of Shin Megami Tensei 1 did. He tried to focus on just humanity and try to enforce that and try to make sure that everyone kind of lived in peace and try to reestablish the natural order that came with the world. Shin Megami Tensei 2 introduced was a more law-oriented scenario where people started going more towards the law side, the Abrahamic God started getting power, and then because of that, you have to kill God, literally. He's the final boss. You beat the shit out of God, you shoot him and stab him and you kill him. Shin Megami Tensei 3 is a little bit more chaos-oriented because of the events that happen. While Shin Megami Tensei 2 is still a post-apocalyptic scenario, the cities that are being rebuilt, there's like, you know, temples and shit, like Greek temples all around, you know, that type of architecture. Shin Megami Tensei 3 is literally after the apocalypse in Tokyo. So all three games do take place in Tokyo, basically. But Shin Megami Tensei 3 takes place in kind of like another timeline, and to not over-explain it, because we'll see it in the game, it does follow a more chaotic side as to what would happen in a chaotic environment. So that's what we're going to be covering. There's a lot of stuff that I'll try to explain as we cover it, and there's honestly so fucking much to cover that I don't want to, you know, bore you guys. But as a general overview, again, of just Shin Megami Tensei 3, the main thing is you've got law and chaos trying to strive for control. I'll oversimplify things later on once more things get explained, of course, and how things work in Shin Megami Tensei 3, some of the underlying tones and metaphors, a lot of the themes that go into it, because it's honestly one of my most favorite games. Now, one thing I must say is that I haven't finished the game yet. I got to basically I had the last dungeon open and I could have finished the game, but I wanted to do the ending that we're going to be going for, which is going to be the true demon ending. And you'll see what that means when we get to it. The main reason why I'm choosing that for streaming, at least, is because it has the most content, has the most boss fights, has the most everything. Most of the content in Shin Megami Tensei 3, if you choose not to go through the true demon ending, you skip an entire dungeon, which is pretty long, and at that point you can just finish the game. You do have to pick a reason if you want to, and usually one of the reasons is a little better than the true demon ending, but in general, this is all stuff that we'll get to when we get to it. For now, let me boot up the title here. Oh, right, and the last thing before I forget, this is more about the technical aspect of the game. So this is the HD remaster, the Steam version. Now, this is gonna be played on PC. The thing is about this game is that it was kind of released with a few slight issues, and I've talked about them a little bit before in some of my past streams. But I tested the game out a little bit earlier just to see if it would work, and it does, and it's fine. But one thing I went ahead and did was I upped the resolution so that I'm able to play it in 1044 or 1440. I mean, 1440p. And I also added a patch, or a mod, I should say, that fixes some of the audio in at least the battles. This game still has PS2 like quality sound, unfortunately, for some of the tracks. For whatever reason, Atlas chose not to remaster that. They're like, hey, we're gonna remaster the game, and it's basically a port. I only care about playing the game. You really don't need, you know, the super HD audio, but it does sound nice. So we're gonna be hearing that at least in the battle themes. Alright. So that's basically all I wanted to get out of the way, at least involving the technical aspect of the game before we do begin, because it's gonna be a really long ride, and hopefully you enjoy it. So let me go ahead and pause the music here with some of the Cowboy Bebop soundtrack, which I hope that doesn't get me fucking claimed here. Okay, let me load up Nocturne here, and we'll swap screens here. Give me a moment. It has to pop up first, and there, and then we can do it. Okay. Now, I will say the intro will have some slight spoilers. So if you want to avoid it, just listen to the music. I'll let it play out, but ignore what's happening on screen. Oh, actually, I fucking skipped over it. And also the audio is outrageously loud. Sorry about that. 1 second. That was super fucking loud. At least on my end. Should have been fine here, but right here, let me restart it one more time. And then we'll do it again. I accidentally skipped the intro. Fuck. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so again, if you don't want spoilers of some kind, just because that's how game intros are, they spoil a lot of shit. Just don't watch it. I'll let you know when to, you know, watch again if you just want to listen. And that's the intro. So, if you were watching the intro, you might have noticed something right away. And that's, well, that the game has, like, PS2 graphics. That is one of the downsides to this version. Let me do one last thing here from my end. Give me 1 second. It's just, for me, the audio is, like, super fucking loud still. It's, like, really low as well. That should be a little better. So, if you look at the screen right now, I mean, we've got the main menu, right? But if you look closely at the little worm that's spinning, you can see that it's kind of, like, blurry-ish. So this is one of the slight lazy things that Atlas did. They didn't redo any of the cutscenes of the game. Any of the cinematics, that is. There isn't that many. It's only the intros, of which there's 2. This little bit that's spinning. One of the cutscenes that we're going to see in a little bit, in like 30 minutes. And then I believe the endings. Everything else is done in-engine, and the in-engine cutscenes are great. But it's everything else that's kind of... So it's a little iffy. When it comes to the DLC, by the way, I am using the Maniacs. Sorry, not the Maniacs pack. What am I talking about? The Chronicle Edition. So, We're doing the Chronicle version. So what does that mean? So originally in the West, or well, the original game version that came out for Japan with Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne was the vanilla version. The vanilla version didn't have the true demon ending, which is what we're doing. Didn't have any of the extra dungeons. And it didn't feature Dante from the Devil May Cry series, which is what we got in the West. So the vanilla version got like, I don't know how many like reprints. It got like re-released like 3 times. And then we got the Dante version, which is the one that we got here in the West. And then Japan got an extra version, which is the Chronicle edition, which is featuring Raido Kuzunoha from one of the other Shin Megami Tensei games. He's basically a devil summoner. He's from another series. He's pretty cool. And he's from the 50s. He's like from like Japan in the 50s, which is pretty neat. Let me just enter a menu so that it doesn't boot me out to the main menu again and plays another intro cutscene. We're going to be doing the Chronicle version, because otherwise, if we don't do it, we're going to be missing out on the True Demon ending, and we're going to be playing the vanilla version of Nocturne, of which there's honestly no reason to do. You should honestly experience this game through one of the DLC packs. The Chronicle edition is free, and then the Maniacs pack is the one that has Dante from the Devil May Cry series. Alright, one last thing. This game has voice acting. If you can play this game, play it without voice acting. If it's your first time and you want a truly atmospheric experience, that's what I would recommend. For you to just play it without any voice acting. You can't turn it off, but you can lower the voice volume all the way down. Otherwise, you do have voice acting in both English and Japanese. We're going to be playing with Japanese voices. Because I just never like playing games with English voice acting, honestly. But that's just my preference. Everything else should be normal. One other thing, this here. If you did download the DLC for the various music packs, you would be able to choose between music from Shin Megami Tensei 1, 2, 4, and Apocalypse, which are other titles. I believe it was 1, 2, 4, and Apocalypse. Otherwise, it was 1, 4, and Apocalypse. Either way, we can't do that. I didn't get the DLC. I don't really care too much about it. But it's going to change. It would basically just change the battle themes and for the overworld map. A lot of the music, though, is very good because it's all classic. And if you're a huge, SMT fan, you'll recognize all the songs, like Shibuya, everything. All the battle themes, they're all amazing. They're all really cool. The soundtracks for these games are fucking amazing. But for now, let's go ahead and start a new game. We're going to be playing it on hard mode. And hard mode is hard mode. It is not an easy game at the very beginning. So normal mode, standard level of difficulty, hard, a level of difficulty suitable for those seeking the thrill of death. So, hard mode is pretty tough. The difficulty can be changed at any time from the config menu. No thanks, but we'll continue. And I mean, it's hard to the point that you can die in the tutorial section, which I did while testing out the the game a bit ago. Or earlier in the day, I mean.
やがて来る力をなくした世界
Did it crash or something? What happened? Don't tell me it crashed. I was just praising it a bit ago. Because normally she should be continuing her speech. What the fuck? Okay. So much for praising Atlas. Because this should just be like a continuous cutscene of her talking. Okay. Let me launch Nocturne again. Holy fuck.
やがて来る力をなくした世界。それは無へとただ向かうだけ。ならばその世界を救うため、その身を母の宿りへと返そう。世界はまた生まれるため死んでいかなければならない。これが古き予言書にあった最後の救いの道。世界はその罪で滅び、人は皆消えてゆく。でも君にはそうなってほしくないの。私はあなたの命をとどめておきたい。そのためには君の名前が必要なの。さあ、君の名を言って。
So here's where we're asked for our name. Now, this character doesn't necessarily have a canonical name, as do most of the Shin Megami Tensei protagonists, except for Shin Megami Tensei 4's protagonist, whose name is Flynn, and then Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse protagonist, whose name is Nanashi. In this case, though, we're going to be playing as a character known as the Demi-Fiend. And, I mean, he does have a few names. The main name that everyone kind of refers to him as is Hitoshira, which we'll choose as the nickname, but we're just going to choose one of the names from some of the other sources. In this case, I'm going to call him Naoki Kashima from the drama CD, which is, you know, only released in Japan because, of course. So it asks you for your last name first and then your first name. So we'll go with Kashima. And then first name will be Naoki. So just make sure I got it right. Yep. And then it asks you for a nickname. Here we'll go with Hitashira. Hitoshira. Jeez. Which just means Demi-Fiend, if I'm not mistaken. So there's otherwise you can just call him Naoki. This is the nickname is what everyone's gonna call you by. Like everyone's gonna address you by this name, like your friends and everything. So we'll just go with this.
So, 君はこれで滅びの時にもあなたは生きる力を失わないはず。それを信じて強く生きて。よかった、分かってくれたのね。もう時は迫っている。それはすぐに起きてしまうの。そして私は次の世界を育むものとしてあるの。やがて来る世界を作るのが私の役目。さあ、私の名も呼んでみて。
So, for the names of anyone else that they ask us to name, we'll just leave the default names. In this case, it's Yuko Takao. So we'll just stick to that.
そう、私の名前は。ああ、私はもう世界の終わりにも涙を流すことはないでしょう。でも私は次に生まれる世界でも君を見ていたいと思っているわ。さあ、起きて。もう時間よ。
Yoyogi Koen Station. Now, I guess before we continue, I'll go ahead and address this now, which is one thing that did kind of piss me off about the translation. I don't know why they called it Yoyogi Koen. It's literally just Yoyogi Park. I don't know why they left it as Koen when everything else is kind of like, you know, when we get to Shinjuku, it's just gonna be called Shinjuku. You know, the original Nocturne translation, if you, as soon as you saw that text, it just said Yoyogi Park, like subway entrance or whatever. It's just weird. You'll see weird things in the translation. But either way, you received the message. You're late, Naoki. What's the big idea? You forget we're visiting Miss Takao today? Just get to Yoyogi Park ASAP. Time's wasted. Tell me your classmate. Please enter your classmate's name. And we're gonna leave Izumu's name as is. So, Izumu Nita. Real talk. I prefer more of a private counseling scenario, but Miss Takao is a lot nicer when you're around. Oh, right. Be sure to dress to impress. After all, you represent me by way of association. How about that slick jacket you bought the other day? The one with the little demon sprites? Remember, you're just a mood maker. Don't get it twisted, okay? So, what he meant by that is, if we look at our jacket, it's got these little, like, men on them, like these little creatures. So, that was the sprite used to represent demon encounters in Shin Megami Tensei 1 and 2. And If and Majin Tensei and all the other, like, old school Megami Tensei games, especially the ones on the NES. So whenever you would reach an encounter, you would have those three little icons at the very top to kind of show you how many enemies you were fighting. If it was like 1 or 2 or 6, you would be able to see them that way. And the more you killed, they would slowly disappear. And this is just a small reference to that, which is pretty cool. There's nothing in the back. And this is our protagonist. Ironically enough, they told us to dress to impress, and we're wearing like track shorts, which is weird. And our shoes are clipping through the ground, which you can't tell, but he's got like blue soles on his shoes. So if I walk, you can kind of see them a little bit. They should be like slightly thicker soles. Either way. Huh? Oh wow, an actual commuter. Let me guess. You're here for Yoyogi Park? Ever since that incident went down, it's been one looky-loo after another. No one's here for the train. As you can probably tell, I've had a lot of time on my hands. You've heard the news, right? No, what happened? Guess I ought to inform you. There was a deadly riot at Yoyogi Park yesterday. If you want the gory details, go check the giant screen at Shibuya. Long story short, a couple of folks lost their lives in that park. You could hear the sirens wailing all night long. Anyway, didn't mean to talk your ear off. It's just nice to have some conversation once in a while. Well, we can try to go this way, but I don't think there's anything. It's just like closed door, and it's closed out. Here we can see a bunch of old, very like low resolution images, posters, I guess. Some maps. That's probably the actual like Yoyogi Park subway map. Some, what are these, ATM? No, these are ticket machines. I guess those are the routes right here, like time slots. I can't tell because it's so fucking blurry. And some more information, and then more posters here. Cyberwave. And I can't really read the title. I don't know if you can make it out. Either way, let's leave the station. I like the fog here. It's pretty cool. It's kind of like it's kind of like Dark Souls, isn't it? We leave the area. Yep. So we're gonna head on over to the overworld map, and this is what it looks like in every Shin Megami Tensei game, basically. So we're down here on the left-hand side, where the little blue dude moving left, well, spinning. In most Shin Megami Tensei games, in 1 and 2 at least, whenever you were in the overworld map, you could check your alignment basically by paying attention to what way it swiveled more towards, if it leaned more to the left or if it leaned more to the right. That kind of gave you a tell. So, these are just people we can talk to, so let's try to talk to everyone on the map. Due to investigation, the entrances to Yoyogi Park have been closed off. We appreciate your cooperation. Okay. We can't go this way, by the way. These are the ends of the map, basically. But we can talk to people. Yo, Naoki, what's up? Did you hear the rumor about Yoyogi Park? Yeah. Well, it's just a rumor. Okay. Being here is starting to depress me. That riot's got everybody all shaken up. You look like a decent enough guy. Let's forget all this doom and gloom and have ourselves some fun. Okay. That's kind of weird. So let's head on downwards. There's a live report going on. While I do feel the demonstrators' actions were out of line, the fact that Cyber's communication would destroy the park for their own gain is not only inconceivable, it's unforgivable. The reporter's impassioned speech continues. The Yoyogi Park riot? Oh, you mean what they're showing on TV? I don't know, it hardly seems real. Like, how could this be happening here? Glad it doesn't involve me. So, we can quickly go in, or try to enter Yoyogi Park. We're supposed to meet our friend here anyways, right? But no one is here. Weird. Alright, so let's continue. I've been chased by this wild dream, hounded, you might say. Or hounded, you might say. In my dream, everywhere you look, everything is round. The world itself is round. Dagnabbit, I know the world is round, but it got round in a different way. I'm telling you, my dream is a prophecy. And yet no one believes me. Oh, hey Naoki. You said you were going to visit Miss Tango today, right? I know she's beautiful, but that doesn't give you a license to creep on her, okay? Okay. So, this is Shibuya, and here's a giant TV. The news is showing on the giant video display. A riot broke out yesterday at Yoyogi Park regarding the construction of a communications tower. The demonstration got out of hand, and there have been several deaths and injuries reported. Furthermore, Hikawa, the top executive of Cyber's communication, remains missing. And now, over to Kay for the latest in sports. The news continues. So a riot broke out up north of here, and some shit went down at the park, mainly rioting. You overhear a conversation between some high school girls. So, don't tell me, I already know. You think Hikawa was super hot, right? Ew, there's like so many nasty rumors about him. I know! To me that only adds to it. He's got intrigue, a whole world of lore built around him. Oh boy. Can't tell if that's just like fourth wall breaking or just, you know, coincidences. Either way, we're almost there. Can you talk to this person yet? Yeesh. Kids these days. One moment we're suffering fatalities, the next everybody's dressed like it's a goddamn carnival. Take that long-haired yuppie wandering around, for instance. There's a hippie running around? You can overhear a couple's conversation. You hear about the riot where the 3 people died? What next? You don't gotta worry about that. Why? Because we're about to start our own little riot in the bedroom. Wow, could you be any more predictable? But I guess that's what I love about you. Okay. So, here's where we can enter Yoyogi Park. So we couldn't go through the one entrance. What about the other?
公園を丸ごと封鎖とはな。現場写真の1枚も撮らせん気か。どうかしてるぜ。ん 俺に何か用か？
What happened here?
テレビじゃこう言ってるな。企業と市民団体の衝突で死者の出る騒動に。でも裏の世界じゃこう言われてるよ。姿を変えた闇の勢力同士の争いとな。ん？鳴ってるのお前のじゃないか？
もしもし、私よ。やっと連絡がついたわ。何やってたのよ、もう。
And here we have Chiaki, Tachibana.
彼ならともかく、君が遅れるなんて何かあったの？今どこ？あのね、あんまり遅いからあいつと病院に来ちゃった。もう悪いけど直接病院へ来てね。あ、場所わかる？新宿衛生病院。新宿駅から東へ歩けば見えてくると思うから。まあいいわ。私先生と進路について話したいと思ってるし、先にやってる。
So we could tell her I'll be right there ASAP, or do you really need to be talking to her about your future? So let's go for this one.
何よ。私は未来の負け組と違って考えることは考えてるの。本当は君たちこそしっかりやらなくちゃダメなのよ。とにかくあんまり遅くならないうちに来てね。それじゃ。
ちょっと待て。お前新宿衛生病院へ行くのか？次の行く先も一緒とはね。これも何かの縁か。これをやるよ。まだ発売前なんだけどな。お前ここで会ったことを知らないんだろ？ならこれから行く病院がどういう場所かってことも知るまい。聖記者の特集ガイア教と弥勒経典、読んでおいて損はないぜ。
You obtain an issue of Ayakushi Monthly. So, he mentioned a few things there, like the Ring of Gaia and everything else. Again, if you're familiar with the Shin Megami Tensei lore, this will all be familiar to you. If you don't know what that is, we'll talk about it later.
オカルトの出る幕じゃないと思うかもしれんが、どっこい。あそこはそういう場所なのさ。なんてな。この世界じゃガセネタもよくあることだ。違ってたら笑って許せや。それじゃあな。また会うことがあったら記事の感想でも聞かせてくれや。
Okay, so that was Hijiri. And then we have to go to the hospital. It should be... Actually, it should be up here. Yeah, this way. This student in a real sharp uniform passed by not long ago. The way he carried himself was real dignified, like... Oh, and he had a cat with him. Black is the uniform he wore. I don't know why, but something about that vintage style. Maybe the hat and the cape. You know, I've seen it somewhere. So, that's, you know, a reference to someone we will be seeing soon. Oh, not again. The hospital up ahead has been open for a while. What's going on? I mean, it's not open. We have to go in there. So let's try to enter. There's a note on the door. The entrance to the annex is closed. Please use the entrance to the main building. Hospital staff. Okay. Let's try this other entrance. Shinjuku Medical Center. Okay. Posters have been torn down. Not gonna lie, I mean, For a hospital, this place looks kind of, you know, dirty. But that painting or sculpture, carving, it's pretty interesting. Either way. So, up ahead is our friend Chiaki, and she's got a very unique design. Because, of course, she has her jacket, and she's got her jirt, and she's got
ようやく来たのね。
her jutes as well. Her design is very interesting. And this game's from 2003.
ねえ聞いてよ。この病院ちょっと変なのよ。人が誰もいないの。ただの一人もよ。
God, her jutes literally throw me off.
見て、受付まで空っぽ。なんだか不気味でしょ。やだな。今、彼に先生を探してもらってるとこ。でも、なかなか戻ってこないのよね。こんな時ぐらいちゃんと働いてほしいんだけど。あれ？何その雑誌。
Do you want to read it?
君の趣味でしょ？じゃ、月刊あやかし。聞かない名前ね。やだ、オカルト雑誌じゃない。こんな時にやだな。でも時間つぶしくらいにはなりそうね。あ、ねえ、彼探してきてよ。先生が見つかんないならこんなところ早く出たいし。多分病室のある上の階にいると思うわ。私はここで待ってるから。あ、この雑誌は借りるわね。それじゃお願いね。
Okay. So now, we're free to explore the hospital to a certain extent. Honestly, if we try going into a lot of these rooms that we'll come across, they're all going to be empty, at least right now. So we were told that he was on the second floor. So let's go to the second floor. It's weird that we have to come to a hospital, of all things, for counseling. Now, they're referring to like career counseling, because it's very common in Japan. Like once you hit like 16 or 17, like once you're a senior or a little bit before being a senior in high school, you speak to someone about, you know, where you want to go with your life, what college you want to get into, what like what career you want to follow. And normally you would talk to a teacher about that and they would help you out. That's kind of what these kids are doing, but you would normally do that at school, at least in, you know, Japanese like schools. You wouldn't go to a hospital of all things to talk about this sort of stuff. And here we have a Jack Frost vending machine. That's so cute. Will you buy something? Sure, let's buy something. It seems this drink isn't listed on the machine. You obtained a mysterious drink. The vending machine is sold out. Can we buy another one? So if you don't know, that little character right there is Jack Frost. He's basically the mascot for Atlas. He's this little tiny white snowman with a cute little hat, and he says hee-ho a lot, and that's his like shtick. And he's very cute, and we'll get to find him and we'll get to use him because he's very important. Well, not very important, but he's useful to us. Someone is on the other hallway. So that's our friend Izumu, so now we gotta go towards him. See if we can find him. Oh, he's gone. You can see the parking lot from here, actually. What's going on? So there's a car parked in the parking lot at least, so someone's here besides us. So that's probably our teacher's car, unless she walked here.
んだよ、驚かせるなよ。突然音立てたらビクッとするだろう。
His outfit is ridiculous, if I'm honest. But like I said, this was 2003. That's when he was designed. His shoes are mainly what's like really weird, but I mean, if you want flames on your shoes, that's on you, right?
本当にもう遅れてきたくせにこんなことするか普通。もうまあいいや。それにしてもあれだよ、誰もいないだろ、綺麗さっぱり。ちゃんと先生に電話して確かめたんだぜ。入院してるの新宿衛生病院だって。
I don't know, something is kind of weird, you know? Like, the hospital is kind of empty. I don't know. Something seems to be up. There's no patients anymore.
案内も何もなしにこんなだもんな。さっぱりわけわかんねえよ。やばいウイルスが逃げ出したなんてことはないよな。先生のいそうなところは一通り回ったつもりなんだけど、どこか他にいるのかな。ま、いいや。俺、一旦あいつのとこ戻って確認してくれよ。待たせたからまた怒ってるかな。へえ、お嬢さん育ちの相手は大変だわ。じゃあな。しかしまあ、やばいことになってなきゃいいけどね。
Izumu left the room. So again, I'm pretty sure you could have gone into all the other rooms as well, but they would have been kind of like this, just empty. And here we can see a lot of bloom from this engine. It's a little outrageous. We can try checking out this room real quick, see if it lets us in. Yeah. So again, it's just empty. But it's still weird. You're in a hospital and there's nothing here. There's 2 beds in this room, when like 6 or 8 of them can fit in here. So it kind of makes you wonder, like, what's going on, you know? I had actually never noticed this parking lot here before, in all my times that I've played through the game, which has been like 3 or 4. Again, never finished, but that's what I've noticed. And again, there's just lots of rooms here. We can try to go into them, hallways and stuff, but at this point there's no point. Door will not open. So let's go back down to the first floor and see what our friends are doing.
Okaeri-nasai. ねえ、これの関東に載ってる特集ガイア経と弥勒経典ってやつ、ちょっと気になること書いてあるの。ガイア教団とかいう悪魔を拝んでるカルト集団があってね、この日本によ。その人たちは弥勒経典っていう預言書みたいなものを信じてるらしいの。預言書には世界に混沌が訪れるみたいなことが書かれてて、教団はそれを本気で実現させようとしてるんだって。混沌ってのがテロか何かを指すのか、それともただの世まい事なのか、まだ詳しいことは分かってないらしいけど。
先生いないよ。男子トイレまで探したんだぜ。
いやーね、もう戻ってくるなり。今真面目な話してるのよ。ちょっと黙ってて。
でね、ここなんだけど、新宿の東に位置する某病院、ここに彼らの計画を解く鍵が。
で、待て次号なわけね。その病院っての意外とここかもよ。この新宿衛生病院、実は怪しい話があるんだよな。人体実験やってるだとか、霊視した霊媒師が逃げ出したとか、カルトの息がかかってるってのもあったな。
そうなの？私何も知らなかった。やだ、来るんじゃなかったな。こんなとんでも雑誌の記事なんて鵜呑みにする気はないけど、でもこの病院明らかにおかしいわよね。
先生のこと心配になってくるな。しょうがない、もうちょっと探そうぜ。何にもなきゃ何にもないでいいわけだし。なんかね、分院があるみたいなんだよ。俺そこら辺当たってくるわ。はいこれ、お前は地下を探してきてくれ。
ID card for the basement?
カードあるならあんたが地下探せばいいじゃん。それとも怖いの？
怖くなんかないってのは。どうせ地下になんか先生はいないから代わりに頼むの。お前は先生がいないことを確認してくれれば OK。 出会いを果たすのは俺の役目。じゃあな、何かあったらすぐ逃げろよ。
まったくもう調子いいわね。でも正直私も先生のこと心配だわ。
Okay, so that's weird. Well, we have to go to the basement now. I did want to check this real quick. Okay, it's just empty. And then some weird posters about. I can't tell if that's like a monkey or if that's supposed to be like a cartoon doctor or something. Either way. So let's head on over to the basement. And the only way to get there is through the elevator. This is like a security room, but it's all empty. Interesting, huh? Insert your ID card. So, let's go ahead and explore some of the rooms here. Like I mentioned, I played this game before, I know where we need to go, but there's some interesting things that happen in some of the other rooms, for example. And we can't examine it, right? We can't. Right? So, Chiaki mentioned a little bit about the Ring of Gaia, some of their beliefs, and that's, you know, basically true. Just people that believe in demons and they worship them. To clarify, though, this game doesn't... they use demon as an overall blanket term, because you have things like angels being called demons. You have things like Hindu gods being called demons. That's why I will probably refrain from referring to them as that. I'll just call them, you know, I don't know, enemies or creatures or fucking party members or whatever we have, right? But I'll try to avoid referring to them as demons, because it doesn't make sense to call, I don't know, fucking Odin a demon, right? Like the fucking god of Norse mythology. It's weird. But either way, if we try going further, We see a bunch of blood here as well. And this is like the morgue, right? Yeah. There's a few corpses here. Interesting. Either way. Let's go ahead and progress the plot a little bit. You can hear eerie sounds from the room where you enter. Yeah. Let's go in.
誰かね。今になって静寂に水を差すとは困ったものだ。知っているかね。4月は残酷な季節。そういった詩人がいる。不毛な大地を前に冬眠から目覚めねばならないからだ。思えば人類の世など不毛なばかりだった。めしいた文明の無意味な膨張。繰り返される流血と戦争。数千年を経てなお脆弱な歴史の重ね塗りだ。世界はやり直されるべきなのだよ。救いは弥勒経典にある。今日はその予言の成就される日だ。古い世界は黄昏に沈み、新たな世界が生まれる。君は何者だね。公園の粛清劇を生き残った同胞というわけでもなさそうだ。彼女の知人か。なるほど、ここは病院だったな。見舞客というわけか。だがアリの穴から包みが崩れるということもある。少し不憫な気もするが、消えてもらおう。何、恐れることはない。この世界の住人皆がもうすぐ君の後を追うことになる。少し早まるだけのことだ。
Well, I guess before we continue, the April quote was, by T.S. Eliot. I'm sure you've heard of him. And he kind of talked a little bit more about that. And from what we can see, he's of course the head of the Ring of Gaia. And, well, it seems like the incident at Yoyogi Park was his doing. So, do we fight him or run away? Well, of course we're gonna face him.
愚かな。運命に逆らえはしない。
やめなさい。
うん。
ほんの彼一人をなぜ見逃してあげられないの？この程度のことで計画は揺るがないはずよ。
事の大小ではありませんよ。私は計画に例外を許すつもりはない。
彼を助けてくれないなら私はもうあなたに協力しません。
困った巫女だ。まあ教え子の面倒は教師に任せるとしましょう。今すぐ部屋を出て行ってください。私はこの幸福な終わりを一人静かに迎えたいのですよ。
屋上で待っているわ。あそこなら街がよく見渡せる。その目で確かめにいらっしゃい。これから世界に起こる出来事を。
So we've been spared, it seems. Now, I mean, even without knowing too much about what happens in the game, obviously the whole, well, what problems could he cause? Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. Someone is up ahead.
どうかなさいましたか、坊ちゃま。あのものが気になるんでございますか？そうでございますか。それはそれは。でも今は忙しゅうございます。後にいたしましょう。
Now let's go to the roof. See what happens.
"来たのね。さっきは間に合ってよかった。君が悪魔にやられなくて。あの人の氷川の話を君も聞いたでしょ。間もなくこの世界は混沌に沈むの。それが呪胎。人がかつて経験したことのない世界の転生よ。今この病院にいない人間はみんな命の明かりを落としてしまうわ。こんなやり方、きっと誰も許しはしないでしょうね。でも今のまま老いた世界を生きながらえさせてもいずれ力を失ってしまう。世界はまた生まれるため死んでいかなければならない。その罪を背負うのは私だけど後悔はしていないわ。最後に決まった運命で君はここにたどり着いた。これで君は呪胎を生き残るわ。でももしかしたらそれは死よりずっと辛いことかもしれない。だけど私は君を信じてる。ねえ、私に会いに来て。たとえ世界がどんな姿に変わっても私が力になってあげる。これから訪れる世界で私は巫女として創世の中心をなす。きっと君に道を示してあげられるわ。わかってる。理解できないことだらけよね。でも今はもう時間がないの。いい？もし君が自分の力で私のもとへたどり着いたなら、その時には教えてあげる。すべての疑問の答えを。そして私の本当の心の内を。
我が世界へ入りたる者よ、お前の心を見せよう。おお、お前の心には何もない、断りの芽生えすらない。それではできない、世界を創造する者とはなり得ない。行け、そして探すがよい。お前は何者かにならねばならぬ。
恐れ多くも坊ちゃまはあなたに興味を持たれています。人に過ぎない哀れなあなたに特別に贈り物をあげようと申しております。あなたはこの贈り物を受け取らなくてはなりません。動いてはいけません。痛いのは一瞬だけです。
これで君は悪魔になるの？
悪魔の力を宿せし災いなる魂勾玉。これであなたは悪魔となったのです。坊ちゃまはいつも見ておられます。くれぐれも退屈させることのないよう。
You obtain the Magatama Marogare. From the command menu, you can view and ingest Magatama. And thus the game finally starts. An hour in, and we saw a lot of things happen. So, you could probably tell the cutscene that played with the black lightning and everything was not the best quality. Again, it's one of the cinematics that for some reason they chose not to remake. And you probably noticed that when the little child held the worm above us, the Magatama, that before he threw it, everything was in HD. After he threw it at us, or let it fall, I mean, it kind of got pixely again. It's little things like that that you might notice. But here we are inside of the underground facility. Now, we can view the map. We can open up our menu now, and here we can see ourselves. These are our stats. Strength, which again is how hard you hit. Magic for spells. Vitality is your health. Agility is your ability to dodge attacks, and luck is your ability to land critical hits. I can double check with the manual later just to be on the safe side, but from what I recall, that's basically what it is. In other Shin Megami Tensei games, you would also have an intelligence stat, which would be used to help you out with recruiting. Whenever you would talk to an enemy, the higher your intelligence stat, the better of a chance you had at recruiting someone. Usually because they kind of required you to have a certain intelligence before you could even start recruiting. I think you needed like a minimum of 6. So if you didn't even have that, you couldn't even recruit anyone, right? In most games, except, well, up until this point, every Shin Megami Tensei protagonist was unable to cast magic. You would have a magic stat, but it would mainly be there for resistance. This is the first Shin Megami Tensei game that allows you to cast magic through the Magatama that you end up getting. So in this case, if we look at our Magatama, we have Marogare, imparts physical skills and provides normal resistances. There is a bunch of Magatama you can get, and they all have different abilities. So this one, physical skills, normal resistance. We'll eventually get one that does like fire skills or ice skills, things like that. And they all have different stats. Some will boost your HP all the way up, some will boost your strength by an absurd amount. Maybe magic, maybe it'll do this and that. We'll see the more we proceed. So basically, you're ingesting little worms that give you power. And as you level up, you're able to obtain skills. So if you look there on the right hand side, you'll see lunge and then a few other options, right? So those are skills that you're going to be getting as you have this Magatama equipped. Usually the Magatama will kind of let you know if you see it glowing. Right now it isn't, right now it's just shaking left and right. But if we see it glowing, like it'll be vibrating violently basically, that's kind of your hint that, hey, the next time you level up, you're going to get a skill. In this case, it would be lunge. For now, though, we don't really have too much. When it comes to the game, you can't really save anywhere you want. There are save points. The remake did allow this, though, a suspend save, which is if you've played, say, a mystery dungeon game before, whether it's, you know, Chocobo Mystery Dungeon or Pokemon Mystery Dungeon or Draga or something, you basically make a save, it kicks you out, and when you come back in, when you load the game, it deletes the save. This is if you just want to suspend the game for a while and come back to it later. Which is pretty useful, considering that Nocturne is very, very, very tough with some of its dungeons, its layouts, and we're about to see with its tutorial. Shinjuku Medical Center. So, what happened so far, we saw the little kid have us they made us ingest a worm. So now we're covered in tattoos, and we also have this little antenna sticking from the back of our neck. So Demi-Fiend is, as the name implies, a Demi-Fiend, a half quote-unquote demon. So the ending that we're going to go for is the true demon ending, and we'll talk about that a lot more later down the line, but this is just so that you kind of have it in the back of your head. So far, we have the potential to be very strong, of course, by, you know, beating up other things. He is covered in tattoos, as you can see, all his markings. Whenever we do get low on HP, they will change in color. And of course, this was mainly done as more of a, I don't know, what was it? It was like a more shamanistic take that the designers wanted to kind of give a more like slightly tribal, spiritual feel to the character design. So it's pretty neat, and it sure as fuck stands out. It's very unique, that's for sure. So let's go ahead and see what this blue orb is. It's a soul. What are you staring at me for? Am I that peculiar? You're the demon here. Well, if you're gonna walk around the hospital, let me warn you, you've chosen a harsh path. From this point forward, enemies will hound you wherever you set foot. Never forget your fate. It's rough, man. So, remember with Triangle, we can always check the map. There's many floors, which we can't switch between yet, but you can view the map of what you have so far. This will be very important in later dungeons that are longer and more annoying. But here we have our first save point. You can hear something from inside this room, or inside the room. And then make sure you go in, and that you don't miss it, which is game design, not gonna lie.
誰だ? お前、まさか公園だった小僧か。 その姿は一体。
Gain new power.
冗談で言ってるわけじゃなさそうだな。やれやれ、何がどうなってやがる。いきなり目の前が光に包まれて気がついた時にはこの部屋だ。その辺を回った感じじゃどこかの病院らしいが、お前がいるってことは衛生病院か？とにかくだ。外の様子を知ろうにもおちおち歩くことさえできん。お前もう出会ったか？
Any of them? What's that?
人じゃない。悪魔とだ。
So you can kind of tell they're like Hito Janai. So Hito. So they're not human. And Hitoshira is our name. And it's a mixture of like Hito for like human, the first part of the kanji of human, and Ashura. Ashura being these entities, I believe it's in Shintoism, that are just wrathful beings. Like they're filled with rage and power. And usually an Ashura, I believe they go on a specific path and journey. And that's someone who goes on a specifically violent journey, either to become more powerful or to come to a sort of conclusion, like self-enlightenment of some sort. They are known as Ashura. But they're also, if you just hear the term Ashura in general, it's usually referring to these entities that are very wild and wicked and violent. And that's kind of what the Hitoshira name, that's where that comes from. I was just reminded by this, actually.
俺に起きたことといい、お前のその姿といい、警察やらを当てにしてる場合じゃないらしいな。こいつは真面目に可能性を考えるべきかもしれん。とてもにやかには信じられんが、ここが衛生病院だってんならありえない話じゃない。東京受胎、本当に起きたのかもしれん。このドラム缶みたいなオブジェには見覚えがある。
Okay, in the text it says barrel, but his voice said drum.
こいつは氷川の秘蔵の品だったはずだ。間違いねえ。すべての鍵はあの男が握ってる。このまま話してても拉致があかん。お前、戦う力があるなら調べてくれ。部屋の外の思念体と話したところで何も分かれしねえ。世界がどうなっちまったか、他に生き残った人間はいないのか。とにかく誰かに出会うことができれば何か分かるはずだ。残念だが俺には悪魔のいる場所を歩き回れる力はない。それにこのオブジェについて調べたいこともある。当てにしてるぜ。よろしく頼む。
So this is one of the drums. That's what I know them as, so I'll refer to them as that. Here's basically where you can save, and later on we'll be able to do some more things with them. If you don't save right now, you leave this room, you go into the first encounter, and you die. You have to do the entire hour and a half that we just went through again. So let's avoid that, and let's go ahead and save. And that's it. Let's see if we can talk to him again.
俺のことなら心配いらん。第一、ついていったら足手まといになる。なに、俺だってこんなところでくたばる気はないさ。そのためにもこいつを調べてるんだからな。さあ、早く行け。
Okay. So he's you know.
まずは外を目指すんだ。
Okay.
頼りにしてるぜ。
Yeah, that's gonna be a little tough. So again, it is the start of the game, and like I mentioned, this game can get very difficult in the early game when you don't have buffs, when you don't have items, when you don't have, healing spells, things like that. It's pretty rough at first. it gets easier as the game goes on, but at the very beginning, RNG can fuck you over quite a bit. What would a demon like you want with me? I'll heal your wounds, so please don't decide to eat me. The soul healed you. Heal your wounds anytime, so don't eat me, please. So here we have a free heal. Now, as far as I know, just make sure, yeah, this one. As far as I know, oh well, I'll talk a little bit. Who are you? Yet another demon after Magatsuhi? Okay, so as far as I know, when it comes to Nocturne in the vanilla version, as soon as we get out of this elevator, or as soon as we go in through this, I don't think this is in the original vanilla version, what we're about to see. I think it just allows you to take the elevator, go up, and then continue through the hospital. Mainly because what's about to happen is more tied to the Maniacs or the Chronicle version, you know, the version with DLC and the Fiends, which we will cover later as the story goes on. But as far as I know, what we're about to see is not in the vanilla version. So if you do want to play this game, even if you don't want to do the extra dungeon and do the ending that I'm going for, it's still recommended to do this just because it looks cool and it gives you more exposition. It's pretty neat. And the boss fights are always fucking cool. Either way, you can feel an extraordinary power from beyond the door. Will you open it? Yeah. You find yourself in a strange place. A voice echoes in your head.
恋悪魔の力
The old man and the woman disappeared. So, I really do love the music of this area. I'm not gonna spoil the name for it yet. But it's very, it's very good. I normally don't like industrial sounds or industrial sounding music, but for this game series, it's just incredible. But let's continue. So in here we have a cash cube. So you can open these, and they have little things inside. In this case, we got some medicine. Mind you, there won't always be medicine, or there won't always be an item. Sometimes it will be traps. Now, one thing to consider, if you look there on the bottom right, you have a little compass. Right now it's glowing blue. That will change in color. It'll glow yellow, then it'll glow red. And when it's bright red, that means that we're going to have an encounter. An enemy encounter. And then if you look on the top left-hand side, right now it's a 7 out of 8. Those are the phases of the... Well, I won't spoil it yet, but those are the phases that we need to look out for. When it's at 8 and when it's at 1, that's when it's pretty interesting. The middle phases are interesting as well. The phases themselves do contribute to a lot of things. For example, certain fusions, certain encounters will only happen on certain phases. So, that's just a few things to kind of be on the lookout for. Let's go ahead and move on. And here's our first encounter. I want to eat. Me eat. Okay. Sorry, the music's so good. So let's go ahead and explain the battle system real quick. Because some people honestly fucking didn't know about this, but... Okay. This game doesn't come with a manual, which is unfortunate. But if you've got the PS2 version, you can read the manual. This game was made in 2003, so a lot of stuff isn't really quote-unquote explained. It doesn't tell you, go to this menu to do this. So I'll explain a few things here. If you look in the top right, it says player, right? And that's our turn. And then right next to it we have this little horned worm. So that's our actions. Right now we only have one action. if it was glowing, or if we get a critical hit, if we get a critical hit, it starts to like glow and vibrate. That means we get an extra attack. That's part of the press turn system, which is introduced in this game. Here we have attack and pass. Those are only two options under the fight menu. However, I don't know if you can look closely. Right next to the fight text, you see like some lines. A lot of players, for some reason, didn't know that you can press left and right to cycle through the menus. But you can. You've got a fight menu, a talk menu. You can check your items. You can escape if you, well, we can't from this one. Or you can fight. So, those are just things for you to know. For now, all we can really do is hit the little wisp. Okay, we might be able to last one more turn. Now, we have to use that medicine. I don't like using items, but we have to because during the tutorial, when I was testing this out, I hit this guy in the face. Then he had 5 HP left. He hit me, he landed a critical hit, then he hit me again, and then he killed me. Because I was at like 8 HP. But that's it. This battle can kill you. Ironically enough. But we leveled up. So, as for stats, honestly, I'm not sure what route we're gonna take. Normally, the meme is to go with World of Strength, where you just punch the shit out of everything. However, magic is also very important, as is health, as is agility. Honestly, all the stats are very important. And strength is really helpful for when you're out of magic. If you don't have enough mana to like kill your enemies, of which you will run out of mana, mind you, a lot. Strength is very good for that, because then you're just punching your enemies in the face and killing them that way. So for now, we are going to put it on vitality though. I'm thinking vitality. You know what? We'll go with strength. We'll stick to strength. We want to hit a little harder, especially in the early game. We'll probably mix it up here and there. So, let's see what this is. By my master's orders, I'll treat your wounds. And your party were healed. So do remember we did buy a item. We bought a soda. And it was a mysterious, like, drink or something. If we look at our items, it was a Soma. So we get a full HP and MP recovery for yourself. So, let's go. And here we have a Preta. So, by their names, just so that, you know, you're made aware of them. Haunt, I believe, is the... I can't remember if it's race that they belong to, or group. I don't remember what they're called in this game, but that's their like affiliation. So in this case, the Preta is the name of the creature, and they're part of the Haunt clan or group or race. By the way, he's a little tiny dude. He's got a little dick. You can see it right there. We're gonna punch him in the face, and he's gonna fight us. We could risk it, but we're not going to do that, because otherwise we have to do these fights again. Yeah, and he wouldn't have died. So he's going to hit us again, so now we kind of have to risk it. Oh no! Oh no! Fuck. Oh man. I should start a death counter. So this is the death screen. The comfort of death will come for men and demons alike. By the guidance of the Great Will. And it boots you right back to the main fucking menu. Because that's how this game is. Oh boy, isn't that interesting? So what I should probably do, I was thinking of keeping like a death counter. So maybe I'll do that. So here, let me get one going here. Give me a moment. So let's go ahead and add it. Text. There we go. And it'll just be death counter. And we're at 1. Okay. Yeah, we'll keep it like that. Anything else about it? Make it a little opaque, maybe. A little bit. And give it that one. Yes, we can. So let's change it to a black outline. There we go. And yeah, that should be good enough. Okay. So now let's shrink it up here. And we're gonna have this like in one of the corners or something. Maybe like down here. We'll have the little death counter right there. Yeah. Well, actually, let's change it from counter to count. So death count. All right. Let's stretch it out a little bit more. Oh. There we go, like that. Yeah, that should be good. All right, back to it. Ain't that wonderful? Okay, so now we get to, well, skip some of the cutscenes here. We're going this way, right? So here we can just ignore that. That's a healing room. We already spoke to the ghost there. I'll still talk to everyone again, just so that it kind of like records it as I was talking to them. There is nothing here still, except the, you know, there's nothing but static. Okay. Let's open the door. And if we just hold down the triangle button, it basically skips all the text. And that's what we're going to be doing, because we can't skip cutscenes here. Okay. And of course, these are scripted events in the sense of like they'll happen in this location. Like we'll have a fight right here, no matter what. And then again near the door. Okay. So let's fight him again. Let's hope we get a little luckier this time. Their death touch attack sucks because it heals them and drains us. So it does 4 damage, heals them for 4. So let's try it again. So one of them is out. Okay. I'll still use the medicine. We could have risked it. He probably would have just hit us for 4 or 5, and we would have killed him by now. And then if you just hold triangle during the fights, you do auto battles. So that's good. In this case, why don't we try increasing our luck instead, so that we actually land hits a little more. Let's focus on that a little bit. Marogareth has begun to act violently within you. Will you let it continue? So these are events that can happen. This will either give you, say, a free stat. Like, let's say, oh, your magic increased by 1 permanently. Or your party has been healed, or you have been healed. Or it might give you a curse as well. So, let's see what happens. Let's let it act violently. A warm light from Marogareth engulfs the area. You fully recovered. So if we had a party, I'm sure it would have told us your party is healed. But if we check our stats, we're fully healed. We can still talk to the doctor here. And we still would have been healed. So let's fight the Pretra this time. Now, I would normally show off the recruit mechanic. However, it won't work on these guys. They're very unique. Oh, you motherfucker. Fucking crit. Okay, so we might die right now. We died again. Completely out of our fucking control. But this is Nocturne hard mode for you. And this was all RNG. Again, I missed. He landed a crit, and then he gets another turn, and then you're fucked. I was like, okay, well that's fine. We can just heal again. It's no big deal, right? So, alright, let's update the counter again. So death count, we're at 2. Oh boy. So this is probably going to be happening quite a bit, at least in the early game, where we do die quite a bit. But we're still level 1 as well, so it's like, it's to be expected. Maybe we should bring up Vitality instead. So that we have a little bit more HP. I mean, we don't have much to begin with. We have like, what, 35? 30. We have 30 to begin with. Cool. Okay, let's go again. Let's fight the haunts. It's a shame though, they land cheap shots on you. Okay, so let's risk it. Okay, that's 1 down. If he doesn't crit us, which he didn't, we can medicine. Now we'll just punch him twice and okay, let's try that again then. Let's go for Vitality. So our HP's at 36. If we pump it up, it'll bring us up to 42. So we should be able to survive at least, you know, a few more hits with that. Let's heal. Let's go again against the fucking Preta. I don't think this has ever happened to me where I've lost more than once against this guy. There we go. Smacked right in the face, and we dodged the attack. Now, if he would have had more than 1 attack available, let's say instead of 1 of those little worms on the top right, it was 2 of them. If he would have missed, he would have just, his turn is over. As soon as you miss, that's it. Turn's over. Okay, you take 1 more hit. But we landed a crit. So as you can see, the little worm started glowing. Good. That put it in its fucking place. So like I said, it's RNG. RNG, like, we demolished these 2 guys. Like, these 2 fights. Super easily. We got through them right away. A voice echoes in your head.
こっちだ。
The old man and woman disappeared. Now we could go that way, or we could go this way too. And if we do those encounters. And again, it's kind of nice to grind right now. We should be able to talk to Kodama. See what he says. Is ready for action. Okay, so no matter what, they're all gonna fight us. Okay, so we might be a little fucked. That was probably a bad idea. Okay, so you've got spells. Let's take care of you first. Okay, we should be able to survive. Okay. Let's risk it without healing. Mainly because... Okay, now we don't want to risk it. If he would have just hit us normally, that would have been fine. If he would have just done that, we would have been at like 1 HP, and then he would have been dead by now. Close to level 3. And there's a cube. got a Maragi rock. So, Agi is the name for fire spells in this series. And Ma, the Ma suffix, or sorry, prefix, is for multiple. So, Maragi is a is an area of effect, basically. It hits multiple targets. So that's a stone we can use, so basically it's an item, you pop it, and you deal damage to all the enemies, and you hit them for fire. For fire damage. Now, none of these guys are weak to fire as far as I know. And then cold amas are annoying right now. Mainly because of Zan. Zan is a wind spell, or force as it's called in this game series. Okay, actually, I should. Well, let's risk it. Alright, fade on. So let's keep pumping vitality. I don't know if you noticed, but your HP doesn't go up if you level up. That makes this game really rough. But we finally learned the skill Lunge. And our little worm is acting violently, so let's let it continue. Warm light from Marogare engulfs the area, and you're fully recovered. So, we learned a new skill, it's Lunge. And it does physical damage, but it costs HP to use. So, I always avoid using those type of skills unless they're like, they hit multiple enemies, which there are physical abilities that do that. Mainly because it costs HP to use it. So, you can either use Lunge and then miss, and then you lose HP and then you get hit right afterwards, or you can use an area of effect attack, which will more than likely hit one or two of the enemies if there's multiple. You'll lose some HP, but you have a chance of killing them before they kill you. Either way. A voice echoes in your head.
ついたか。力は見た。また近いうちに会う。
So sorry for cutting him off a bit. Okay. So, who knows where that was? And we don't know for sure as of now. However, let's go save again. Because otherwise, if we die, we have to do all of that all over again. I don't know why there's a paw print right next to our little Magatama. And I don't know. Either way.
まずは外を目指すんだ。
Let's make it out alive. Okay. I'll still show off Lunge a little bit, just so you guys know what it looks like. But it's usually physical skills aren't the best. Same with like multi-hit skills. So for example, there's specific AoE attacks out there. Like if you look at Maragi, for example, if we use that skill, that one for some reason has like a higher accuracy compared to a breath skill. Say for example like Fire Breath, which does the same thing as Maragi. It has a chance of hitting multiple enemies multiple times, but it has a much lower accuracy. While something like Maragi will hit all enemies once, at least. Still, let's try going to. Why don't we go to the roof? I don't remember what order to attack with the hospital right now, by the way, but the roof was where we, you know, met our teacher. No one's at the roof. Okay. Well, let's go to the first floor then. At least it's bright and sunny out, which is interesting. And here we have, well, the main entrance. Well, yeah, the main lobby. Who? Chiaki Izamu. Yeah, I never heard of him. The exit is just as you perceive it. Were you trying to leave the hospital? Yeah. Then how about the next door? This is the main building, but there's an annex. Maybe you can use that entrance. Okay. 'Cause it seems like, well, we cannot use this exit. It makes sense, right? So, if we check our map, there's a few doors we can go down. So let's just start exploring. And that's the cool thing, or that's one thing you should do in Shin Megami Tensei, is explore every, like, entrance if you can. I don't think those will actually open up ever. No. The parking lot still has one car, and you can see an item on the other side. Okay, well, let's see what happens if we keep going this way. Okay, we have stairs for the second floor. We'll pass on that for now. Let's try going to the other side and seeing if there's anything interesting inside that cube. And we got medicine. Good. Now, since it's also not explained, this isn't really, you know, something revolutionary, but if you're walking in an area that doesn't have a fixed camera angle, like here, for example, this area, if you press circle or the equivalent on your controller, it'll put the camera right behind you. So here we kind of get a glimpse at the outside world. Huh. Doesn't look like those are clouds. That's for sure. I guess we'll see more of that maybe when we leave the hospital. Let's keep going. Oh yeah, we had a door here. I missed. Let's put it here. There's some demons called Pretas making a fuss about wanting Magatsuhi. Magatsuhi is the source of demonic powers. I think I really don't know how it works. Yeah, so if you... So Magatsuhi is a form of energy, right, in this world, and we'll be seeing a lot of it, you know, just in the areas. If you look at the ghost, or the soul here, you see that there's like these little worm things, these little energy traces, kind of going up. That's what Magatsuhi looks like. It's like this red energy source. So it kind of gives you an idea that even things like souls have Magatsuhi, which is why all these souls are like, don't eat me, because if we eat them, we can gain some power that way. Technically. Magatsuhi. The door is locked from the other side. Okay. This is a normal door. Let's try to get through here. And this takes us further down. And some more stairs. Huh. Okay, well this is where we want to go, so we'll come back here. Let's go back a bit. Again, more things that we can't really see due to the low resolution. I don't think we can buy any more drinks. Yep, vending machines aren't working. Life stones. So life stones are pretty important. Mainly for, well, they heal you. So they're a really cheap way to, you know, heal. It's kind of like medicine. Although, I think they recover, how much was it, like 30 HP? Slightly recover HP. Yeah, so this is like 30 or something. You know that security system in the passageway ahead? You need an annex gate pass to get through. Okay. So, one thing about this game when it came out, and a little afterwards when individuals started, you know, finding out about this game and they wanted to play it, one main complaint that a lot of players had was that they had no idea what the fuck to do. They would get lost all the time. But honestly, this game is very linear. while you do have some choice, of course, in your endings and what you want to do, the game tells you what to do. That guy told us find a pass in order to continue. So that's what we gotta do now. Let's find a pass. You obtain medicine. There'll be other times where you'll be in a town, for example, and they'll tell you, oh, we heard some... I heard that some people were causing a riot in the south or something, right? Or, hey, I've heard there's things going on in the north. It'll kind of push you in a little direction where you know, it nudges you on the direction you should go. And a lot of players, because they don't talk to the other NPCs, they have no idea what the fuck to do. And even if you just pay attention to the story, you'll know what to do. But we'll be fine. I saw some humans at the annex. They're probably dead by now. Gobbled up by demon flesh. By demons. Flesh, bones, and all. Okay. And then we've got the stairs in front of us. So, we couldn't enter that door. And then if we go through here, it'll just be stairs to the first floor. And if we look down here, we've basically completed the map. So I'm kind of like a little bit of a stickler for that. Like, I really like the map to be filled out as much as I can. Because it usually means that, well, you found all the secrets or whatever, right? So let's go through here. And let's see what this creature wanted. So she looks like a fairy. Oh? I've never seen a demon quite like you. Hey, are you looking for something? Kinda, yeah. Hey, what's that thing you're looking for? I'll help you if you want. In fact, I'll be your demon ally. You wanna know what I'm looking for? A demon who can take me to Yoyogi Park. You look kinda flabby and weak, but I'll let that slide. What do you say? Should we join up? Kinda, yeah. Alright then, let's get out of here. If we have the pass thingy, we can get through that door to the annex. I saw some pretas carrying it. I'm Pixie, the fairy. I'm sure we'll be the best of friends. Pixie, join your party. So now we have our first party member. And it's Pixie. And Pixie's very cool. If we look at the stats for Pixie. So, she knows Dia, which is the equivalent of your healing spells. So Dia is the base healing spell. And, well, the pronunciation for this one varies from person to person. I go with Zio. People say Zio. It's either one. It doesn't matter. But I go with Zio. It's the electric spells. And as we can see, the first skill she can learn is Seduce. So that's interesting. But either way, we have a new party member, so now we have Pixie with us. So she told us there were some pretas that had the pass, or that she saw take the pass. Now there's only one room we couldn't enter, and we heard, you know, some voices. Now I'm gonna go out of my way to do this, just because again I don't want to risk it, mainly because of it being the early game. I'm gonna go back down to the basement. We're gonna go ahead and save. And again, it's mainly to avoid having to do everything we just did again. This is a game where you want to save a lot and frequently in order to mainly avoid that, especially like right now while we can, because there will be in other situations later on where, say, you won't be able to save. You'll be in a dungeon, you haven't found the next save spot, and you're like super far in, and the only way to get to the save point would be to backtrack all the way back to the beginning of the dungeon or something, right? And if you try to do that, you might die, because you're out of healing spells, you're out of mana, you're out of abilities to, or like items that recover your HP and MP. So it's like, it's pretty rough. So right now we're taking full advantage, because otherwise, again, we'd have to do that past like 20 minutes of stuff again. So better be safe than sorry in this case. Alright, so let's go to this room here. Yeah, those gunky pretas are inside. Here, let me talk to them. Pixie changed the tone of her voice. Magatsuhi? Meat! The door is now unlocked. Yeah! Alright, they fell for it. You ready? Oh yeah, let's go. Gah? Their fucking mouths. What the fuck? These guys are crazy. They have their little tiny dicks hanging out, and then they have their giant mouths, like just opening agape. Magatsuhi? I don't have any Magatsuhi to give it the likes of you. Now, if you don't want to get hurt, hand over the pass thingy, pronto. Blah. Magatsuhi. Me want to eat. That's so fair. That's really not fair that they get to go first. Alright, but see, they had 3 turn or press turns. But since they had 3 turns, 3 attacks. But since one of them missed, well, now it's our turn. So I'll show off lunge. I don't like using it, but it's for 19. Let's go ahead and use Zio on the middle one. And they're weak to it. So whenever you land a weakness, like you can see there, our little worm is glowing. It counts like a crit, and it lets you go again. So you can smack this guy in the face. And we dodged again. Man, we're getting very lucky. So one thing we can do, for example, is we can pass. We can pass our turn, and it's gonna count as like a crit. Then we can use Zio. And now we get more turns. So if we pass again, it'll end up using those turns. Like, it'll end up using the first turn, and then the next one will be... It'll still be glowing, but it'll only count as 1. So right now we get 2 extra turns. So let's just smack him in the face, and let's hit him again with the Zio. And that's it. So now that we have elemental attacks, it's much easier. You obtain the Annex Gate Pass. Ooh, you're stronger than I thought. You can get even stronger if you talk to other demons and get them on your side. Anyway, pass thingy's ours now, so let's make our way to Yoyogi Park. So, that's one of the first hints that tells you, hey, you can talk to these creatures and try to recruit them. If you haven't checked out the, the other bits of the menu. So once again, we're gonna go down there, we're gonna save. Mainly because now we have encounters. I don't know if you noticed, but the little diamond thing on the bottom right started changing colors. It started going to red. I don't know if this is a safe area or not, and if it isn't, which it's not, we're gonna encounter enemies. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and use a skill. So Pixie on the map can use her healing abilities, so we can heal her up. So I can try talking to this guy, but he's not gonna listen. Doesn't look like he can understand him. So it's not worth it. So some of these races will be unable to actually understand you, or you won't be able to recruit them easily. At least not through conventional means. And by that I mean, well, not by talking to them. It won't work that way. So you can still fight someone. Okay. So that's why it's important to, well, just try to talk to everyone you can. There are certain abilities that you'll eventually get through some of the creatures you actually end up recruiting. For example, Pixie will get Seduce. I believe Seduce is a recruitment skill, as in she will try to recruit whoever you're talking to. She'll try to convince them to come to your side through methods of seduction or means of seduction. However that might work. But otherwise, if the enemy is kind of intelligent, like this little dude, Kodama. We can actually talk to them. Jirai Kodama. So a lot of Jirai are usually like fairies of some kind, like gnomes and, you know, woodland spirits. So we can actually talk to him. You want to play? Let me drain your strength, then maybe I'll listen. So this means that he'll take some of our HP. So sure, you can take some of it. Took a little bit of it. Actually, it was kind of gross. That's still not enough. Let me drain your strength again. Sure. Whoa, this tastes... what to do? Give me more, give me more. Okay, so the general rule is you try to do it like 3 times. If after this he doesn't join, you beat the shit out of him. Alright, last chance you get. Whoa, this tastes... I'm so lost. Well, okay. I'm Kodama the Jidai. Let's be friends. And he joins our party. You do get no experience from it, but we now have a new party member. So here's Kodama. And unfortunately, you can't see their skills like this. You have to actually go into them. So, he knows Zan, which is a force damage. So, you know, force is wind. And then Kinspeak. Persuades a demon of the same race. So if we were to find another type of Jidai and you use Kinspeak, it'll try to convince them to join us. So if we go to our party and we go to summon, we can summon Kodama. Now, let's go back and heal. And again, we'll just save one more time. Mainly because, again, we've recruited someone. We want progress to be remembered. And we're pretty strong now. So, we're pretty good on HP. Let's start pumping up our strength in this case. Or maybe agility? You want to be able to dodge as well. Honestly, like, you kind of want to spread it out. But more than likely, it's honestly best to go with magic. But that's for later down the line. Right now, let's try to bump up strength a little bit. And we learned Analyze. Sure, you can act loud. And then we fully recovered. Nice. How's our party doing then? Everyone's fine. Okay, we're just gonna save then. We don't have to go talk to the ghost thing. Again, this is mainly just for progress, for record keeping, right? So let's save again. Now, one thing I noticed in the map was that there was an exclamation mark. For some reason. I think that's mainly just for the first interaction that we have with the gate, where it asks you for a pass. Usually important things will be highlighted like that. Now, one thing we could actually do is grind in this area. And that would probably be a smart thing to do. Okay, now, I did mention these guys aren't really recruitable, but there is one way you can recruit them, and it's not through conventional means. And by that I mean, another way to force people to join you is through extortion and or beating them senseless. There will be times where the talk command will work, and they'll be confused, and it'll give you like if we would have talked to the Will-O-Wisp, right? It would have told us something like, "How would you like to respond?" And you can respond with like weird noises like that. And the Will-O-Wisp will either be delighted or be offended. And if they're offended, well then the fight continues. Otherwise, they'll just join you. There's a demon way stronger than you up ahead in the annex. You'll probably get shredded in an instant. Nice knowing you. Death Touch is a really cool skill though. Mainly because it's a what's it called? It's a health drain skill, and those are usually really useful. I think it also drains your MP. If not, it's not that one that's a little one I'm thinking of. Just hit him, actually. Or just go for auto bat. Because there's no point in wasting mana with these guys. Okay, so Pixie leveled up and she learned to seduce, which is, well, something. Let's try looking at that here real quick. So seduce, invite a demon to join. So again, she'll try to talk to them to join you, or she'll try to convince them to join you. I mean, and it's well, it's something, right? So, from what I recall, we want to try to be around level 8 or so for the boss fight. We could be a little under leveled, but hopefully not too much, because as you can see right there through the window, well, there's the boss. Now, oddly enough, I should have actually healed with let's use Sign. He's weak to it. Good. Alright. Oh no! Okay, this one. And let's Zon this one. Now you see how he's paralyzed like that? That doesn't mean shit. As far as I'm aware, that doesn't do anything. Oh no. Oh no. I'm so close to dying. We're really fucking close to dying. Hey, Pixie, heal us up. Okay, and now Pixie's out of mana. You see the demon swimming around the lobby like he owns the place? That's Fornius. As long as he's around, you might as well kiss any hopes of leaving this hospital alive goodbye. And yeah, speaking of Subnautica, which we just finished, this is the first boss. A giant manta ray thing with like a crown on his head. We'll be able to see him again. Now, of course, I've played through this game before, so I do remember he's around. We have to be like around level 8, and I know he's like, what was he weak to? Was it wind? It was either wind or electricity. It's one of those two. That's why they give you Pixie. I'm pretty sure it's electricity. I can see it. I can see you suffering in your battle against the demons. But this future is only one of many possibilities. The future is not written in stone. I shall help you. What future do you desire? A bright future? A dark future? Or let's not do this. I don't remember how this influences your paths, but they did mention at the very beginning something known as reason. So they'll explain what reason is in greater detail later on down the line. But they did mention how we as the Demi-Fiend do not have a reason, and we cannot possess a reason. So thus we must find someone who has a reason that we feel, you know, might align to our beliefs, and try to help them fulfill their reason because we agree with them. And I'm pretty sure this contributes to that. So we could have a bright future, a dark future, or if we choose not to, I'm pretty sure that contributes more to the whole you're not choosing a side, you're not doing anything, and in the end you literally do nothing, and that's the worst ending of them all. So let's try to go with a bright future. If you wish for a bright future, know your enemies and use attacks that they are weak against. If you do, a bright future full of attacking shall await you. It's not easy to learn your enemy's weaknesses. Only through battle shall you gain knowledge. I shall help you. What future do you desire? So now we're going back again. Alright, what happens if we choose dark future? Well, if you wish for a dark future, continue to use useless attacks. Let your attacks be nullified, reflected, or drained. If you do all of this, a dark future full of defending shall await you. Okay, so those are some, you know, combat mechanics that we talked about. we'll cover that later when we get to. Well, we've already done weaknesses, so we'll cover the rest for sure later on. For now, though, let's keep exploring. Now, one thing, we do see how it says full up there. So, full is the Kagatsuchi cycles. So, Kagatsuchi is something that we're going to see when we leave the hospital. When it's full, enemies will be raving mad. They will not understand you, they will not care about what you say, and you cannot recruit anyone while they're like that. Although sometimes, they'll be so distracted by the full Kagatsuchi that they might heal you, or they might give you money or something like that. So here, let's try seeing if I can do this. We'll attack one of them normally. Now let's see if we can seduce this last one. It doesn't look like he can understand. The Will-O-Wisp can't understand seduction. It honestly might have worked. Like I said, sometimes it can work, sometimes it won't. Okay, so we have a Shisha. Never seen a demon like you. Take this as a sign of our meeting. You obtain medicine. Rah! Those demons have it rough. Sure, that's Shisa, or Shisa. And they're like the guardian dogs and stuff, I think in Chinese mythology. So that's pretty neat that he didn't attack us. He's a pretty good companion to have. Hey, you there. Demon next door isn't trying to eat me, is he? Hey, wait a sec, you're a demon too. And we got a revival bead. Good. Good. And of course, we're not going to fight Fornius right away. That'd be beyond suicidal, I'd say. We could probably try to win, but we're probably not going to. One thing I should check is the stats of everyone else, though. So, we're fine right now. If you see where it says, like right below luck, we have normal resistances, so we don't have any strengths or weaknesses. Fairy is strong against electric moves, so if someone hits her with a Zayo, it's going to do less damage. While Kodama is strong against force, so any wind attacks are going to be reduced, but it's weak to fire. So fire skills are going to be critical hits. Since it's its weakness, if we encounter a fire enemy and it hits it with a fire spell, an Agi or something, it's going to hurt like a bitch and they're going to take another turn. So let's try going back this way. See what we missed here. No wait, not this way. Was this it? Yeah, okay. It was just a... Now, I don't recall if you can have multiple party members of the same race. In this case, like Jedi. So I'm not gonna waste time trying it, but I'm pretty sure you can't. I'm pretty sure it'll tell you something like, oh no, that's right. Actually, I'll show it off. When we encounter another one of those Jedi, we'll have our little dude talk to him. You're trying to defeat Fornius, are you? Yeah, I am. Tough as you may be, you'll never beat him alone. Don't just junk punch every demon you see. If you talk to them right, you can convince them to join you. So, I've seen videos where people like spent like 6 hours in this game and they had no idea you could talk to people. Even though Pixie tells you, hey, you can talk to enemies. This Jedi tells you, hey, you can talk to enemies. So it shocks me seeing that people don't do that. So, here's one thing we can do. He hasn't learned the skill yet, right? I could have sworn he did. Okay, we'll check in a bit. Because from what I recall, our Kodama had learned how to talk. Unless that was the next skill he was going to learn. Well, I guess we'll grind and get it. If he hasn't. But let me double check, because I'm pretty sure he had it. Skills, Kodama. Yeah, can speak. So what the fuck? He had it. Was I missing it? Was I blind? Let's see. More practice. We can try to see if we can seduce one of them. It's probably not gonna work, but let's give it a shot. Okay, so let's seduce him, see if it works. And it doesn't, because again, they don't understand. Yeah, let's pump up strength again. Violently within this. Let's let it go. Warm lights, and you fully recovered. So we're fully healed. I wish we got the one that heals our party. That one's pretty nice. In this case, we do have to heal up our little Kodama. So let's use medicine on him. There we go. Excuse me, but did you know Fornius is a big, strong meanie? Oh, and the adults said demons were outside too. It's a shame. It's a poor kid. Just dead. So there's more stuff down there. No, that's just that's a soul. But these are things we can pick up, but I don't remember how to get to them. We do see some stairs, or a ladder, I mean, over there. So maybe that way. Well, let's keep going. Okay, so we should be able to see Fornia soon. Unfortunately. Do you have time to spare? I saw a human sneak past Fornius just a while ago. Okay. And we can have another encounter in a bit. Let's see if I messed it up. No, okay, so that's weird. Because normally what should happen with this kin speak, I don't know if it triggers automatically on its own, but normally, if say we had, I don't know, Pixie talk to another Pixie with Seduce or something, if you normally have a party member talk to someone else of their own race, they'll be like, they'll usually give you a gift. So for example, if you talk to this guy, hey, that's my pal you have with you. He needs to be home soon. Okay, bye. And then they leave. Although sometimes they might give you an item. You're like, hey, my friend's with you, take care of them, and then they give you like a medicine or something. So that's one way you can avoid combat as well, by talking to them. So diplomacy works. Demons stick together. So defeat the demons in the way first. They disrupt conversations. And that's something that can happen too. If you're talking to someone, one of the other enemies can try to interrupt. And they'll be like, hey, what are you trying to do to my friend? Yeah, there's a trick to negotiating with them. Okay. There are some races of demons that rarely join through negotiation methods. Like the Pretas and the Will-O-Wisps. So, I mean, you can keep trying to recruit them. So if I talk to him again, he just doesn't understand. I mean, we can still try it. It might eventually join. It'll just take a few attempts. And if it's just one of them, that's not a big deal. Now, usually if there's a boss fight, the game will warn you. It'll tell you, hey, you sense a strong presence up ahead. And it'll, you know, protect you that way. Door is locked. Will you unlock it? Yes, please. And now, we're back to the healing spot and the save room. The enemies got to go first. So, let's hit him. Let's talk to this guy. Okay. So we didn't get anything out of it. That's fine. We still need to level up everyone else. We landed a crit, that's nice. Very nice. So let's heal up first. That way we can have our HP fully recovered and our SP. we'll save it. And again, it's best to take advantage of, well, the resources that you have at your disposal right now, such as like the free healing rooms and stuff, because eventually, as soon as we get out of here and the game really starts, you're not gonna have that luxury, and it'll be a lot more of a, hey, you gotta pay to get healed, and you're gonna blow through your money that way. In this case, we only have 686 Maka, which isn't much, but let's keep going. So it's up ahead, right? Yeah. Okay. If you go from this hospital, you'll run into Yoyogi Park. If you go south from this hospital, you'll run into Yoyogi Park in Shibuya. I hear that Shibuya is a fun place with stores and a club and everything. Damn, only Fornius was in here. I think that would have something in it. Okay, cash cube. We got a bead. So beads are really nice. They are full heals. Like complete heals for your HP and I believe just HP. Let's make sure. Yeah, fully recover HP. Revival beads, they will bring you back to life with like 3 HP. So you have to use a revival bead and then usually... That's not perfect. I should leave this guy. They've got so many attacks. Oh, please. Let me ask you, do you have a spare life stone? Yes, we do. Very good. I shall give you this. You can't see my face right now, but I kind of looked at the camera as if I was inside of the office, as if I was in the office. You'll have encounters like these all the time. Hey, do you have this? Cool. And then they just give it back to you. Amazing, huh? Alright, we want Shikigami. Do you expect me to join you? Let me drain some of your energy. Okay. Give it a little bit. It is a little salty. Still not enough. Pay me 50 Maka. Okay. Very well. Seems to be satisfied. I am Shikigami the Brute. I will travel with you. Shikigami joined your party. So, thus ends the fight. We now have Shikigami, and the reason why he's very important to us, first let's summon him, is because of his skills. He has... well, he doesn't have it yet. For some reason they lose it, right? Stats, Shikigami. He's gonna learn some important skills down the road. As a matter of fact, I can check something real quick here. So, there's a very important tool you can get that you can use for Shin Megami Tensei. Nocturne, at least. And let me see if I can find it here. It's called the Heretic Mansion, and it is essentially a think of it like a Pokédex, kind of, and it shows you basically every demon you can get, right? Every guy you can recruit. Just look for it here real quick. And one thing you can do is, again, you can treat it as if it were a sort of compendium. And through it, you can look stuff up. So, for example, I can't show it to you because I tried checking to see if I could capture it, but it's not going to let me. For some reason, OBS doesn't pick it up. So, in this case, this guy is a brute. So, if we search through race, and we go for brute, and then we look for Shikigami, it'll show us the skills that he will learn. So for example, right now he knows Zayo and Beseech. The next skill he's going to learn is Tarunda at level 5. So this thing will tell you when you're going to, learn some of your skills. It's pretty useful. And honestly, there's no shame in using it. You could, if you really want to, go to the wiki and do it that way. But, I mean, you can always do it this way too. And if you look, he's got Repel Electric. So he's immune to electric attacks. If someone tries to hit him with, say, a Zio spell, it's going to bounce it back to them. But he's also weak to fire. So, same thing that we just did. Let's go back. And let's save, because that is a very important party member. And we're probably going to grind a little bit outside of the healing room. Mainly so that we can power him up quite a bit. I do want to remember what this skill does, because I forget. Oh, well, we don't have it yet. But Beseech should allow you to invite someone to join. Yeah. So let's see if we can do that. Save afterwards. So I'm trying to see if we can talk to these guys yet, and if it'll allow us to just have them give us an item. So let's see. Sometimes they'll give you an item. And Kodama leveled up. And he learned Dia. So that's good. So let's save again. Heal up. And again, if you're playing this on normal, you probably won't be having this hard of a time. But again, it's just recommended to save. It doesn't hurt you. So here, hopefully we can try to get an encounter again during a full Kagatsuchi. That way I can try to show off, if we get a normal one, how crazy they get. They'll literally start like raving and ranting. Okay, so we have a new move, or a new phase. So, shit like this can happen. Hey, if fighting words never existed, do you think people would still get into fights? So, these are interesting interactions. Because if we say, maybe they wouldn't, he might say something like, bah, that's what an adult would say. But if we say something like, hell yeah, they would, it may be like, yeah, wouldn't they? So let's go for this one. His expression became cheerful. I'll give you this. And we got a medicine. And that's it. The interaction's over. Okay. So, let's try to hit him, and let's try to see if Besiege works. No, it didn't. Okay. The important thing is that now we have 4 turns, which is good. Means we can hit pretty hard now. And if you're wondering how I know a lot of this stuff, like, how do you know that he's got like a childish mind or whatever? It's when you play this game a lot, you learn how to interact with all these creatures. And if you know the lore, you'll kind of know about it. Chakra drops, those are basically our MP, or SP in this case, heal items. The only downside to them is that they're super rare. You hardly ever find them. And if you can find them for sale, they're super expensive. According to Fornias, this hospital is completely under his rule. If you ever hear someone screaming, all the Magatsu here is mine, that'd be him. Oh, and if you take him off, he'll rough you up without a moment's hesitation. Well, he sounds like an outstanding fellow. Oh, this might be the entrance to that little park. Oh no. Ugh. Finding some nice crits here. Let's try beseeching these again. Maybe eventually they will understand. Like, there's no point in not doing it, I guess, besides wasting time. Because again, it'll eventually work. Like, it'll eventually happen. And we're done. Try again. Nope. this point, we're just gonna kill him. Okay, let's heal up our party. Mainly Pixie. Yeah, and ladder climbing in this game, unlike Subnautica, is slow as fuck. Got my Zio rocks, good. Need that. I'm a Bufu rock. And what's the big one? 300 Maka. Okay, that's not bad. Interesting, like, area that a hospital would have, isn't it? Trying to see if we could see anything else in the distance, but there's not much. Just, it looks like clouds at least. Okay, so Mabufu is you know, it hits multiple opponents and it hits them for ice damage. Mizayo, take a guess. So this guy's it's a full Kagatsuchi right now. Sometimes, because it's a full Kagatsuchi, these guys are so crazy. Okay. You win. Smile. Stupid. Seems to be offended. Die. And the Will-O-Wisp attack. So that cuts our turn, right? But that's one way to recruit them. We can try again. I don't think he'll join us though, because he's mad. You win. We just ignore him. Yo. He's ecstatic. Friend. He edged up to us. Will-O-Wisp joined your party without your consent. So there you go. And the Will-O-Wisp joined us. So now we have... You joined your party without your consent. That's fucking funny. So we have a Will-O-Wisp now. This thing is interesting. He's null to dark. He's strong against physical attacks, and he's weak to magic, like any type of magic, and light skills. So it's interesting that they changed him to light. I think originally in the original Nocturne, they were called Death and Expel magic instead of Dark and Light. In this case, though, the Will-O-Wisp, it's not a bad party member, if I'm honest, mainly because Death Touch is pretty helpful at keeping him alive. By that I mean Death Touch drains life, and it drains a percentage. So that's usually pretty good. So we want to try to keep him alive, maybe power him up a little bit. I do want to check again through the Heretic Mansion here real quick, and see if I can get anything about him real quick. Let's see. No, it's Haunt. It's Foul. Will-O-Wisp. Okay, so he learns Zon at level 2, Death Touch at level 5. He's not too bad. Sort of. Still. All these creatures, you want to keep them. You want to be able to recruit them. Mainly for fusion purposes. That's something that's going to come up later. But you can fuse creatures together to make stronger ones. And sometimes you do need a member from the foul race, or a member from the fairy race, things like that. And it's good to just have them at your disposal. So far we're doing okay. We're not gonna level him up yet. We're gonna wait probably until after the Fornius fight. I mean, we're getting close to being around, you know, Fornius level. So we want to try to have our little paper like level up quite a bit, if possible. A little Shikigami. So let's just focus on it. As you can see, it's weak to it because it's a magic. Punch it. Oh, okay. You just also miss. agility increased by 1, and she learned Rakunda. Signs of change can be seen on Pixie's body. So, I don't know if that reflects on her model here. If we wait a little bit. No, it doesn't. Okay, so let's look at the new skill that we just got. So, we got Rakunda. Lowers all foes' defenses. That is an amazing skill to get. Because again, Shin Megami Tensei is all about buffing yourself and debuffing your enemies. So, if they can't hit you as hard and you can hit them twice as hard, that's always worth it, right? Okay, so let's go back out. We'll try to see if we can clear out Fornius in this, session, and then maybe stop. Mainly because I'm fucking starving. But it's still really fun. Like, this game is awesome. I think the last time I played it was like last year, and it's always a treat to play. Shin Megami Tensei 3 is always so much fun. God, it's so fun. Right now, again, it's a little bit of a slog because it's the early game, and that's any RPG you play. Like, all RPGs are fucking slow at the very beginning. But after a little bit, it'll start changing. We'll just gives us good experience. Well, 9 isn't, you know, that great, but it's something. So we want to try to see if we can encounter a Preta during a full Kagatsuchi, so we can try to recruit it. Oh, there's another save room over here. Good. Good. What, you're gonna defeat Fornius? Yeah. Yeah, right. I'll give you all my money if you can do that. Okay. He wants to talk shit. It's alright. So that was an example of them using a spell that we were resistant to. That we reflect. Now, if they didn't reflect themselves, okay. We hit pass. We're gonna pass, and we're gonna talk to them. Yeah, let's avoid this fight. Oh no. Okay. Well, we can use. Well, that's not useful. Okay, so we're probably just gonna try to avoid. Let's proceed. So you're traveling with a fiend. Go and walk your path. So that's another way to take care of these fights, because again, they are tough. These guys are tough. We were debuffed to shit, and we were probably gonna lose if we would have just kept hitting them. A healing room, another one? Okay. So I kind of feel bad now making all those trips back and forth when we had this here for more grinding. So let's save again. So here's another little terminal. Okay. So in this case, let's try to just focus hard on one of them. Stop missing. Good paper. That is fucking terrible. Like, us missing, that's really bad. So again, in this case, it's best just to try to avoid the fights. So pass, siege. no, I'll give you this, and then they give you your medicine. Shikigami no. So yeah, some of these fights pretty tough. Okay, so no. So Fornius is beyond this door. We could try to fight him right now, but we're probably not gonna win. We could give it a shot, but she would actually be really helpful. Red Jedi. I don't remember what it was for. But Quapple is a interesting party member. You want me to join you? What should I do? Quapple is smiling mischievously. I'll do what you say, but 40 Maka. Okay. Yeah, this isn't nearly enough. Give me 40. Alright. Okay then. Quapple seems to be satisfied. I'm Quapple the Jedi. Don't get me in trouble. And Quapple joined her. So the reason we want her is mainly because she has fire spells. And she can make fighting the Shikigami very easy. So, let's do this here real quick. Stats. Look at Quapple. So she's got Agi right now. And that's all she has. Let me check her through the compendium here. Under the Jedi tab. So if we look through there real quick. So, Jedi. The last ones. Oh, where are they? There it is. Okay, so Quapple. So she's gonna learn a very useful skill around level 10. So we kind of wanna get to that if possible, and level 9. Level 9 would help out a lot as well. However, she's only useful for fighting some of these guys. She's not gonna be useful against Fornius, mainly because her weakness is ice, and Fornius knows ice moves. So she's level 5, which is already pretty good. So we can go ahead and do something like return Kodama to stock and summon Quapple. And we can easily take care of a lot of the Shikigami that way. So let's save again now that we've got Quapple. If we can try to get a Preta, that'd be pretty nice too, and we'll kind of have collected everyone from here. Now, the thing is, we do have a limited amount of party members we can carry with us at a time. And whenever you do exceed them, I think they don't join you. I think they tell you something like, hey buddy, you don't have any space for me. And they just don't join. So here, for example, we can use Agi on the Shikigami. Hits it really hard. We can actually use Zayo on the Quapple. We can attack the Shikigami. We can pass, and we can use Agi again. And again use Zayo on the Quapple. She's tough. And kill the Shikigami. So due to the location where we're at, we can easily just blow through mana at this point. Like use up a lot of SP through that. That's not a big deal. Okay, we leveled up. So let's go for Vitality again. Get life bonus, which is good. So life bonus gives you a little bit extra HP. So you can go wild. You fully recovered. Cool. So we can check that here again. Life bonus raises your max HP by 10%. So that's a skill you can have. Some creatures can actually have this as a skill that they can learn, life bonus, and through fusion you can pass that on if you really want to. So let's try to see if we can find any Pretras, and if we can, let's hope that we can find them by the new compensation. Seem like we can. So yeah, Quapple hits pretty fucking hard, which is neat. He's out. Pass. Deep. And we Zayo on her. And we punch him and hits. 29 experience is not too bad. It's pretty nice. I want to try to get them at least a little bit higher, if possible. We need some more like buffs in our party. Even though we're grinding right now, buffs are again very important. And if we try to fight Fornius the way we are now, we're more than likely going to lose. So, and then if I just hit this guy in the face a few times, that's over. And I think this is the highest level area of the hospital, so... Fire. So again, fire is like super important, just in general. And now we're getting pretty strong, so we're clearing out all these waves of enemies in like one round. You know, we're not letting them attack. That's always important. Let's get healed again. And back at it we go. So this is something that you'll eventually end up doing as well if you choose to pick up the game. You'll more than likely enter an area where you'll be able to grind, and you'll probably just take advantage if you can, and then just do that. Just run in circles, save, heal up, run in circles, save, heal up, and so on and so forth. Because if you end up grinding for like an hour and then die, you lose all that progress. Oh no, they're being smart. Oh no. Oh no. That's bad. Oh no, Pixie's dead. We'll be fine though. Just revive Pixie, but then Pixie doesn't get experience, which is lame. So let's revive Pixie here. Oh, also, if Pixie's dead, she can still use her skills, I think. No? The fuck? They added a weird icon next to her. Okay. Before that wasn't the case. Before it would just be like they get unsummoned and that's it. If you use a revival beat, they should just come back and you should be able to use their skills. I could have sworn it was like Pokemon where you can use like HMs and stuff out of battle, but I guess I forgot. So that's the skill we want. That's why we're kind of grinding Shikigami, if we can. Because Tarukaja is a basic buff, fucking powers you up. And it's good. It's a good skill. And of course, the harder you hit, the easier your opponent is to take. The easier to take care of your opponent. So, well, the easier it is to take care of your opponent. Probably because it's late. Either way. We might train for a little bit more. We'll try to see if we can take on Fornius right away, and if we can, cool. If we can't, then maybe we'll continue tomorrow, mainly because it is getting late. So, let's give it a bit. We'll try to get like one more level up. And then, pass real quick. Argy. Smack you in the face. So Wampo used Maragi at us in one of the last battles, and that's a very useful skill. Because if we encounter a bunch of Shikigamis, and we hit them all with Maragi, it's great. So E-Learn Tarunda, I think that's what decreases opponent's ability to hit us. Let's see. Lowers all physical and magic attacks. That's incredible. That is fucking amazing. Weak to fire. This doesn't matter. Nice. So yeah, because I mean, for this fight, we're probably gonna need to use. Well, we'll use Pixie, we'll use Kodama, and we'll end up using Shikigami, more than likely. So let's go ahead and let's test it out. So let's heal up first. We'll save, and then we'll try seeing if we can fight Fornius with the party that we have. I mean, they're very weak, so probably not. But hey, we'll see. Save first one more time. And then we'll swap our party members out. We don't want to have Huapo out for the fight, because, again, Fornius can hit us with ice spells. And the bad thing is, if our opponent starts to use spells that hit our own weaknesses, they get extra turns, meaning they can hit us even harder. So let's return Huapo, Shikigami, summon Shikigami again, and Kodama. Like this. Alright, so let's give it a shot. Let's just try it out. Answer? Yes. Alright, let's see what he's got.
おい待て貴様、見かけない悪魔だな。この打天使フォルネウス様に挨拶抜きで外に出ようってのか。命知らずの坊やだね。さっきはヘマして人間に逃げられちまったが、貴様はそうはいかねえぞ。この病院で舐めた真似するやつは軽く飼ってやるのさ。このヒレでサクサクってや。シェラー
Fucker's talking like a Yakuza. Jeez. Okay. So, Fornius, he is weak to electric, if I recall. So, Shikigami is next, followed by us, and then Pixie. So we can go ahead and pass. We can have him use Tarunda one time. We can go ahead and pass. We can have her use Zaya. That didn't hit him really hard at all. And at this point, we just have to hit him. Too bad. You know Zaya as well. Extra turns. We can take advantage and hit him. We got a crit. Zaya again. Bufu. So that's the ice spell. So let's pass. Zio. Pass. So actually, I should have used that turn. Now that I think about it. Okay. In your case, you do have to attack. Zio again. Attack. And Zio again.
貴様、なかなかの挨拶くれてんじゃねえか。
And Mabufu is the multi-hit spell. So let's go ahead and pass. Zio again. I'll go ahead and use a chakra drop. Normally I never use this, but let's use it on Shikigami. So we can use Zio some more. Yes. Nice, a crit.
Kisama, 調子に乗るのもここまでにしとけ。
Alright, so that's his big move. We're gonna go ahead and use Dia on Pixie, just to be safe. And now we're just gonna wail on him. Crit. And there we go. So mind you, We were kind of under-leveled for that, especially with Kodama at level 4 of all things. But that goes to show you how taking advantage of your enemy's weaknesses and exploiting it and then forcing them to suffer for it is how you get through in this game. Alright, well, let's pump up our luck, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, you can act violent. You fully recovered. Pixie leveled up. And she learned Post Moody. I think that, I think Post Moody is the cure for poison. You obtain the Magatama Wanatsumi. And if we check it out. Come on. So, if you see, this one is normal, the one that we have equipped right now, which is Marogare. Marogare. This one's fine. But if you look at Wanatsumi, it knows ice, it's weak to electric, so it's going to give us ice spells. Or ice magic. And as you can see, it'll give you Ice Breath, which is your first, you know, elemental skill. You see how it's shaking and it's glowing? If we level up, we're basically going to get Ice Breath right away. So we can go ahead and equip it now. If we look at our stats, though, this gives us +2, so it gives us 2, 1, 2, 1, 1. This gives us 3, 2, 2, 1. So this is more of a magic build. So we should take it, mainly because Ice Breath is not good, but it's ice magic. So that's the useful part. In this case, let's go back and save. We'll heal up, we'll save, because again, otherwise we have to do all of that again. And speaking of, hey, you really beat him. Dang. Promise is a promise. Take it. You obtain 750 Maka. Need to escape from poverty first before we can escape from here. So, one quick thing. So if you look at our map, compass, I mean, it's glowing blue. So right now it means it's neutral. However, before we came in, it was kind of getting red. One thing you can do is you can walk around here, and you can let the cycles pass, like right there on the top left. So we went from half to 5, and now it's 6, and then 7, soon, right there. And now if we wait for 8, right there, and if we go out, as you can see, our compass is already a different color. So if it stays at full and we get an encounter, never mind. Okay, so we're gonna get an encounter, but it's not gonna be at full kind of situation. Otherwise, we would have probably gotten, you know, a wacky scenario or something. It also powers them up a lot, so that's something to keep in mind. No, they're weak to fire. Pull them all leveled up. And it learned lunge. Okay. We'll heal up once more, we'll save, and then we'll get everything else again. I wasn't expecting that fight to kind of hit us a little hard, but it happens. Okay, so let's save. Yep. I was honestly not expecting to take care of Fornius right away. I know he wasn't hard, especially if you exploit him with double Zio. But oh well. So if we look at our map again here, we can go straight ahead, and we can also go down that way. So there's some items right there. We'll go to that a little bit. Door will not open, so blocked. So let's go this way. Cash cube, which we can open. Got medicine and revival bead. Nice. And now we can leave. So we'll show off the outside area real quick. You feel the presence of something.
すぐに死んでしまうような恥ずかしい真似はしなかったようですね。一安心でございます。
Well, I don't know, lady. Our counter there says 2. We've died twice.
仮にも坊ちゃまの情けを受けたもの、その程度の強さで終わってもらっては困ります。そういえばあなた、外の東京へ出るのは初めてですね。それじゃあバーヤのおせっかいですが一つだけ。上をご覧なさい。ご覧の通り、東京は姿を変え、丸い世界になりました。その世界の真ん中で、あの通り輝いているものが見えましょう。あれが家具土でございます。
Oh, they changed the name. Before it was Kagatsuchi, and now it's Kagutsuchi.
あれはこのボルテクス界を作り出した源。そしてこの世界に住む者に力を与えているものです。おや坊ちゃま、もう行かれますか？それではこれで。今後ともしっかり頼みますよ。世界を作るもよし、壊すもよし。
The child and the old woman have disappeared.
This ここがボルテクス界か。どこか程度に似た雰囲気を感じるがあの老人、厄介な依頼を持ってきたものだな。さてライド、どうする？ここで人知らに接触を試みるか、それともそうだな。ウグの言う通り、少し泳がせてみるとするか。
All right. And here we are in, well, Shinjuku of all things, but also in the Vortex world. So, I'll go ahead and pause here so I can explain a few things. So, right now in the cutscene that just played out, and also in the conception, which is when we had the apocalypse happen, we saw that the Earth was like lifting, right? And it was making like a spherical shape. In the original plan for Nocturne, what they wanted to do was they wanted to have the whole planet kind of turn inside out, or fold over itself and make a spherical shape. So if you were to look up at any moment with the camera, you would be able to see any part of the planet. So let's say from Tokyo you could see the United States or Africa or something, right? But due to the limitations of the PS2, they were unable to do that. So they had to lower the scale to just Tokyo. And right now, if you technically were to be able to look at the map, you should be able to see parts of, well, Tokyo, like Shinjuku, like any of the other cities as well, within the capital. But we can't really kind of see them yet, mainly because of, well, I mean, if we look, I can't move the camera here, but if we start moving like left and right and we keep going down the map, for example, we'll eventually be able to see other places, Akihabara and all that stuff, right? But that's what Shin Megami Tensei 3 is so far. The apocalypse has happened. We have been given a choice to join someone and help them fulfill their ideas of a new world, of an ideal world. And it's now up to us to do that. So, I think that's a good stopping point. I mean, we did 3 hours, we beat the first boss and the first dungeon, which honestly on my first playthrough it took me a little bit longer, but that's because I didn't have a full party yet. I only had like 2 people, and I think I was just like over grinding, and in the end I beat him in like, you know, a minute or 2. And then here we just beat the shit out of him. He hit us 3 times. He used Bufu twice. No, he used Bufu, Mabufu, and then he hit us with Icy Death, and that's it. He was a very easy enemy. But yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and call it here. I wanted to try the suspend command. So let's do that here. So it's under system, suspend. And it's like a quick save. And you know what? We'll show off this intro. This is the alternate intro. Again, if you don't want spoilers, don't watch it. But otherwise, let's just see it for now. So the intro is pretty cool. Like, that's the alternate intro. It's really rad, but it does spoil so much shit. But again, it's not stuff that we'll see until much later. You would have been able to see some of the things that we just encountered, like the little room with the pretas and the pixie when we were trying to get the pass. Like, that was there, and then a bunch of other stuff that I'm not going to go into because, well, it's spoilers for later. But for now, let me go ahead and exit here. So, in the 3 hours or so that we ended up playing Nocturne 4, we died twice. That's honestly not too bad. I haven't seen anyone else play this HD remaster except for, like, I saw like a compilation video or something where some person, or like a highlight video from some dude's channel, and they had died like 30 times or some shit. I think we're off to a good start. Here's hoping we don't reach the 100 mark by the end. But I'm going to predict somewhere around 50 is probably going to be where we end up with our death counter. But for now, well, I mean, to those of you who are still here, I really do appreciate it. It was a long stream, and we did end up going pretty late. Although this is normally what I would normally stream for beforehand, but I wanted to just call it now, mainly because, well, I've got a few things to do before I gotta go to sleep. But as for like an ending song, let's see. So one cool thing about the Nocturne HD remaster, despite them not properly remastering the soundtrack, they did have someone make an arrangement album. So let me check it out here real quick. Let me just make sure. Yeah, they did a piano arrangement. So yeah, we'll end it with one of these. So let's go ahead and have that here. All right. So again, if you want to keep up with the rest of the Nocturne journey, hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll more than likely end up streaming tomorrow night as well. So we'll probably go for a lot longer. This time we went for about, 3 hours, but that's because like 2 hours were spent on finishing Subnautica. We'll probably go longer next time. So for now, again, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, and I'll catch you guys later.